all the way down to the Horn of Africa. But I'm going to concentrate my story a little away from East Africa and go all the way to Somaliland. Oh my God. Now we all remember Kenya as a beautiful country that has a lot of history, right? From uprisings all the way down to religious upheavals and so on and so forth. There was a time a man said he was the Messiah in Islam, aka the Mahdi, and he came all the way from Kenya. My brother, my sister, he inspired a lot of people and a lot of upheavals and revolts. Today we move away from Kenya and go all the way to Somalia, where we will talk about a hero in our African history class. It's going to last 7 minutes. Now today we're looking at the man whose photograph you see right here. It's a blurry photograph, but it is worth it. It suffices our class today. Today we're talking about Sheikh Bashir. Sheikh Bashir. Sheikh Bashir was born Sheikh Bashir, Sheikh Yusuf, Sheikh Hassan. My God have mercy. You want to hear the name again? Sheikh Bashir, Sheikh Yusuf, Sheikh Hassan. But in this class, we will simply call him Sheikh Bashir. Hey. Now, Sheikh Bashir was born circa 1905, 4 years before Kwame Nkrumah was born. And he was born, my brother, my sister, right there in Tale, in British Somaliland. Oh, my God have mercy. Yes, British Somaliland. That was where he was born. Today called Somalia. My brother, my sister, he died at the age of 39 or 40. Now let us go through the history. Sheikh Bashir was born in Tale. My brother, my sister, at the time Tale was known as the Dervish capital. My brother, my sister, located in the Sul region of Somaliland. He was a nephew to Muhammad Abdullah Hassan and was named by him in 1905 when he was born. It was his nephew, Muhammad Abdullah Hassan, who named him, and he gave him that beautiful name, Sheikh Bashir, Sheikh Yusuf, Sheikh Hassan. La ilaha illallah. Watch what happened now. My brother, my sister, he hailed from the Yusuf sub-clan of the Habir Jallo Isaac clan. My brother, my sister, and he learned from those two clans, my brother, my sister, and his school of thought was so much influenced by these two beautiful clans. The Yusuf clan of the Habir Jallo Isaac clan. Lord God have mercy. At a young age, he learned the Quran. Hey! He studied at the Markaz, located in the village of Bir, east of Burao. And he studied so hard as his father pushed him on to study so hard. My brother, my sister, the Markaz, or the school, or the center, was actually started by his grandfather, called Sheikh Hassan Fiki Abdi, as an educational center where Quran, Hadiths, and other Islamic sciences were taught. He grew up becoming a learned man, super learned in Islam. Oh my God. He knew the Quran right from Al-Fatiha all the way down to the end. he was a Hafiz. In other words, he memorized the whole Quran into his medulla oblongata. My brother, my sister. According to some Somali historians, including the historian and novelist Farah Awi, in fact, this man was always seen with books. There was no time anybody ever saw him without a book by him. Even when he was praying, there was a Quran by his side, and he wrote poems at will. My God. Hey! My brother, my sister. Now the British came in and they looked down on Islam. They saw the Islamic people as very, very vociferous, who did not want anything to touch their religion. And for that matter, the British considered them as radical. Hey! Hey! He stayed right there in the Markaz, or the Islamic Center. He didn't want to go out. Every time he was there reading, that became his home. Hey! He opened a Sufi Tariqa. That's an order sometime in the 1930s when he was only about 25. He became a Sufi. You know who a Sufi is? A Sufi is a learned Islamic guru who believes in the power of Bansiri, amulets. Hey! He knew the secrets of the Quran, and he knew which verses he could recite to vanish or to stay. And he knew what to write and wear around his neck or his waist that could repel bullets. Oh my God. My brother, my sister, he started to fight the British. You know why he did that? Hey. He had been arrested several times by the British for preaching against the British and preaching against their invasion of his country. The British saw him as a threat. They arrested him several times and released him multiple times. He reached prominence in 1939 when he played a prominent role in a riot in Burao. Remember, he was born in that region. That happened that year as a result of a new educational policy the British authorities had announced, and which it had put an end to after the riots. The British wanted to push English. The Sheikh wanted to push Arabic. The British wanted them to go and study about British history. He didn't want it. He fought against the British. The British arrested him several times and pushed him out, but he had the support of the people. Sheikh Bashir organized a group of some 100 armed tribesmen and dared the British authorities to enforce this policy of education, which he said was a pollution of God's educational system, the Markaz. Hey! He was arrested, and at the end of 1939, he was sentenced to a minor term of imprisonment. Now, when he was released, he returned to the Tariqa in Bir, where he continued to preach and encourage his followers to resist all policies of the British authorities. He continued to resist the British authorities through preaching until 1945, when he decided to take arms against the British. And there you can see him and his people with guns and ammunition, spears and bows and arrows, stones. They fought against the British. One day, according to a well-known story, he challenged sheikhs who were fulminating against the British to actually do something about it. If you fulminate against the British, it's time to act. Don't just sit down and say you don't want the British. You must act now. Now, the exchange between Sheikh Bashir and the sheikhs was passed over into history in a poem composed by Yasin Ahmed Najinur in January 1980. Maruk Bar the Gal Gala, where he described the incident. Now, this sheikh wrote a poem, and this was what he wrote in the poem. I'm going to read the English translation. It says, take Sheikh Bashir as an example, the chanting priest amongst whom he placed a can and asked them to break it with the religious verses they started reading. Yes. And failed to dent it. He took a big stick and destroyed it with one swing. The meaning of the story is muscle partakes in war. Oh my God. So there was a rebellion on the 2nd of July. Oh my God. Sheikh Bashir collected 25 of his followers in the town of Wadamago and transported them on a lorry to the vicinity of Burao, where he distributed arms to half of his followers. On the evening of 3rd of July, this same month, the group entered Burao and opened fire on the police guard on the central prison in the city, which was filled with prisoners arrested for previous demonstrations. The group also attacked the house of the district commissioner of Burao district, Major Chambers, resulting in the death of Major Chambers' police guard before escaping to Burubab, a strategic mountain southeast of Burao, where Sheikh Bashir's small unit occupied a fort and took up a defensive position in anticipation of a British counterattack. And of course, the counterattack came, and he was shot and killed after a fierce battle with the British in the coast town of Berbera. Sheikh Bashir settled many disputes amongst the tribes in the vicinity, and they remembered him for that. They saw him as a man who united the people. He is celebrated today in Somalia as the sheikh who preceded the independence struggle. My brother, my sister, today we remember Sheikh Bashir. In fact, he wrote a poem talking about his own death. I will read a little bit of the poem to you. Is so emotional. He wrote, and I read, Sheikh Bashir was hanged in daylight at a house near you with bullets. They made holes on his chest, whilst his body was covered with blood. They also kicked him and insulted him. West, the people whom he hated and the infidels came to watch him. The British. When his unwashed body was thrown outside, they refused him burial, and you were all around and you watched it without taking action. There were others killed playfully, about which nothing was done. The body of Kaidid is still warm and his bones are still wet. Though an old man, Farah was sent to jail, and now he roams the outside world. They refused him nines over his family and wealth. The unjust man, the British, are pursuing and punishing him and punishing everybody. What the English always wanted, the people of India refused. My brother, this is part of the poem. Today we remember Sheikh Bashir, who took arms with only 25 soldiers and fought the British, made it hell for the British. He used to fast, and this was the place he used to fast at. He would stay there and fast for so many days. Sometimes he fasted for a whole year. My brother, my sister, Sheikh Bashir loved his country and wanted to see his country prosper. Today we remember you, Papa. Papa, you see a kai what now I be. Oh, Papa. Today he's honored in his country of Somalia as a great soul who fought for the independence of this nation. His legacy continues to stay big and wide. He appears as a significant figure in Somali popular culture. My brother, my sister, And streets have been named after him right there in Somalia. Today we say bye-bye. Papa, bye-bye. There's even a secondary school named after him. That is it. Welcome to Sheikh Bashir Secondary School, right there in Somalia. Oh, Sheikh Bashir Secondary School. That's the photograph you see. Yay, Papa. Papa, misi minubako. Papa, misi waya biwate. Papa, uniya bigo. Papa, minubako. Oh, Papa. Papa, misi minubako. Papa, misi minubako. Go. Papa, minubako. Allah. Allah. Go. Yeah, Papa. In the burden of knowledge, I ask you, now that you know what to do, be an any olea mini oba fe zuna kagane mezaka yine, yeah, pa bango bokaya nfifia ye nyanukai na wabana enwebe, then lele anjima singa be, kudne lele anjima singa beri.
Tu, worry, papa.